everybody, my name is Ling Minghua. But for today's video, what are we going to be focusing about is about data analysis, which is a really interesting topic that I believe is necessary in every single field. So for this video, what are we going to be discussing about is what is the data analysis, the full purpose of data analysis, and also our example of it in finance. So now let's go straight through this video. First, what is data analysis? Basically, I've explained this for like a lot of time, and I bet all of you guys have known it. Data analysis is about the progress of collecting, cleaning, and interpreting these data into different kinds of sorts of data visualization so that we could get a better and more informed decisions. And so data analysis is a really important part in decision makings and problem solving because it basically helps you know more about the information and it helps you to have more informed decisions. So we've all heard through the definition of data analysis. It's also really important to note that data accuracy is really important in data analysis because just one small point will actually make a lot of changes into your data analysis report. So we all need to be careful of how do we collect our raw data before we actually put it into our data analysis part. So now let's look at its full progress on how do we actually bring data analysis into use. So how is the question here. First, let's look through our full progress of 5 steps. First of all, we have is collection. Collection here means to collect the raw data. And so let's say if basically we have about whether or not should we invest into, let's say, companies A stock, which we will be focusing on later. Then so we need to collect the data from that company on whether or not does that stock got a lot of value or etc. Next, we need on to the cleaning step, which is to remove errors and wrong informations or wrong facts out into our own collection or into our data. Next is exploration. Exploration basically means on this stuff we are going to find out the patterns or the changes that was made, the changes that was occurred in the time of our data. And so this step is really important because it leads us through other steps of interpretation and to correct and also rate data. So that is for our exploration part. Next is on interpretation. So we also need to got into this step where we are going to be looking at whether or not is there anything wrong with the data. Like let's say if like the data stock is like calculating the amount of people who buy product A on that holiday month. So we're going to be calculating them, but also there are some parts that we need to have with integration. So just like days when the store is closed or Black Friday days, etc. So those are the important things that we need to focus on. And also lastly is reporting. This is the most important part for sure, is that we need to actually turn it into a report and to communicate it with others. So now let's look through an example so that we could understand it at a better perspective. So here is a problem with stock marketing investment analysis. So in this situation, I am going to be a financial assistant, and my job here is to give advice for a client on whether or not should they invest in a particular company's stock. So basically, I am the financial assistant, and I'll need to persuade them or to give them information on whether or not should they invest into, let's say, company ABC. So now let's go through our 5 steps so that we could get a perfect report for step 5. So first, data collection. Let's say for this step of data collection, what do we need to do is that we are going to be finding the data of the past few years stock of company ABC. So let's say we are going to be collecting the data of the stock selling on the last 5 years. And so how we're going to find this is that we're going through the step of searching on the historical stock prices, financial statements, market trends, or basically things that could happen or basically trends in that time. And so through data collection like this, we could learn about the company stock stuff, and so that we could actually got a clearer insight and got more information to cover our next step. Next step is about data cleaning. And so as I've said, data cleaning is basically removing errors or wrong information out of our raw data collection. So what are we going to be meaning to doing is that we will look at wrong data or data that have been biased, have been changed, or also it has like wrong information or wrong statistical numbers or graphs or pictures, etc. So we need to remove them out so that we could ensure that our analysis is 100% accurate or at least is believable somehow. So next, we also need to look with data exploration. So on this stuff, it is a really hard stuff, I believe, because on this, we need to base on our data collection. We have gone through the data cleaning part so that we could come up with a pattern. So let's say I've come up with a pattern of the stock's trend is that it keeps going up and the revenue is pretty high and growing. And also, it's actually good on investing because the investment rate is kind of like increasing on this stock here. So that is my exploration. I explored the pattern, I explored how did it change and how did it change as time passed. So that is our important thing. So let's say we got our exploration of the company's stock sales is always on a really high level and the revenue is pretty high. Although there are sometimes some parts where the revenue is pretty low, but still it can maintain a balanced interest rate for us. So now let's come up with our next step of data integration. So this is also a really crucial part because we need to focus on if there's anything wrong or anything that could maybe change our exploration. So we could see if like the company's selling has like some days where they don't sell, etc. So that is our important part. Lastly, and also really important, last but not least, I must say, is reporting and communicating it out. So what do we need to do is that we need to report on whether or not should they invest in the company's ABC stock. So what we're going to be doing here is that we're going to come up with a report, going to show it. So we basically would need skills such as like data handling, which we could use data visualizations to put these into charts, graphs, etc. to show it. And we could put it into statistical numbers so that we could show out whether or not should my client invest in company's ABC stock. So that's basically about the step of data analysis where we could have 5 steps of collection, cleaning, exploration, interpretation, and reporting to our client or to maybe ourselves or our boss. So that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.